if you're a college player and you're a great college player, like Caitlin was, the delusional fan base that follows her disrespected the WNBA players by saying she's going to go in that league and tear it apart. There were actually odds on she's third or fourth in betting odds on being MVP of the WNBA. These people are so disrespectful and so unknowledgeable and so stupid that it gives women's basketball a bad name. Okay, so the kid was set up for failure right from the beginning.
Remember this time when Geno Auriemma believed he had Caitlin Clark figured out? She was a flashy player who, according to him, wasn't prepared to rock the basketball world with a fan base that he claimed was living in a fantasy. However, reality has a funny way of proving people wrong, and this time it hit Auriemma hard on live TV. The same Caitlin Clark, whom he criticized as not being built for WNBA physicality, has shattered expectations, turning skeptics into fans and Geno into her most unlikely ally. The backstory is as fascinating as the turnaround itself, but the real question is how we got here. How did one of basketball's most iconic coaches go from doubting Clark to acknowledging her greatness? From electrifying performances that lit up the court to smashing records that will stand for years, she silenced critics in the loudest way possible with her game, and in doing so, she forced even her harshest detractor to change his tune. Auriemma, the coaching legend known for his unwavering opinions, was forced to offer the kind of admiration that no one saw coming. And so whenever he does anything it all began with a statement that sent shockwaves through the basketball world. On the Dan Patrick Show, Geno Auriemma, the legendary UConn coach, didn't hold back and boldly criticized Caitlin Clark's fan base, calling them delusional and claiming they were setting her up for failure. His reasoning was that he didn't think Clark was built for the physicality of the WNBA, and if she is on the team, it becomes the right team because Caitlin Clark is on it. To fully understand Auriemma's doubts, you have to go back to Clark's college days at Iowa. She wasn't just a star, she was a phenomenon whose impact on the court was seismic. Her long-range shooting bordered on jaw-dropping. Her leadership transformed the Hawkeyes into national contenders, and her ability to score at will made it clear that she had the quickness to handle the league's aggressive defenders. What bothers me, though, is that some of the people I greatly respect haven't really covered themselves in glory with some of this commentary. She was already a household name by the time she was chosen as the first pick in the 2024 WNBA draft, but Auriemma wasn't convinced that success in college didn't necessarily translate to dominance in the professional ranks, unless you're from the UConn, that is. Diana said it best. This kid is in for a rude awakening. The basketball community swiftly took sides, with Clark's supporters pointing to her unwavering work ethic, her unrivaled basketball IQ, and her remarkable ability to deliver when it mattered most. Her detractors, including WNBA legend Diana Taurasi, decided to question whether her collegiate brilliance could translate to the brutal pace and physicality of the professional game. The divide was evident, and the pressure on Clark to succeed couldn't have been greater. As I mentioned before, they had odds that she was about third or fourth in the betting odds to win WNBA MVP, which is so unfair to all WNBA players. However, if Clark has ever done anything, it's to rise to the occasion. Her perseverance laid the groundwork for what would turn out to be one of the most memorable debut seasons in WNBA history. Clark not only met expectations, she blew them away, dominating the Indiana. She posted incredible stats on 19 on Fever, 2 points out of 8. You never know how quickly they're going to adjust to the WNBA game coming from college, and I believe Caitlin has done surprisingly well how quickly she's adapted to this game. Her offensive brilliance, which included 4 assists and more than 5 rebounds per game, turned heads, but it was her ability to elevate her teammates and control the tempo of games that left critics speechless along the way. She broke an unprecedented 62 records, which silenced even her most vocal doubters. Clark wasn't just proving she could hang with the pros, she was proving that she belonged among the league's brightest stars. Her resilience, leadership, and sheer talent made her rookie season one for the record books for Auriemma. The buzzer beaters that inspired wild celebrations, the triple-doubles that became social media sensations, and the clutch plays in high-stakes games that showcased her were the moments that defined her season. Before we get into what Geno actually said, let's understand why he suddenly changed his mind. Was it the undeniable brilliance of Caitlin Clark's debut season, or was there more to it? When he watched as the very player he doubted shattered expectations, the question was not whether Clark could handle the WNBA, but rather how far her star would rise. This is where the story takes an unexpected and fascinating turn. The worst thing about new fans is that they have no perspective or context, so they just say ridiculous nonsense. This is where it gets interesting. Geno Auriemma has a sizable financial stake in the unrivaled, up-and-coming 3-on-3 basketball league that has been aggressively pursuing Clark. The league views her as a game changer, a star who could single-handedly elevate its profile and bring in fans. And Geno's glowing remarks came at the perfect time to raise awareness of the league. The story of watching her dominate the WNBA certainly could have changed his mind, but not everyone is convinced that she has decided not to do Unrivaled, even though Leah Boston's doing it, Lexi Hull is doing it, Kate Martin's doing it. And despite all the rumors, and I'm sure the push was put on her, but Clark has all the leverage in this situation. And I'm not saying she flexed it. She could have shown up to support the games or publicly praised the new league, elevating its profile overnight. This raises the question of whether this was a sincere acknowledgement of her greatness or a calculated move to win her over. Fox College Hoops had prepared a tribute video, a heartfelt montage of her college highlights interwoven with messages from former teammates, coaches, and even rivals. The answer is no, but the timing has raised more than a few eyebrows. Could this be a case of flattery with an ulterior motive? Fans and analysts have debated whether Geno's public praise was genuine or part of a calculated long game to bring Clark into the fold, perhaps next year. However, what did Geno really say during a game where Caitlin Clark was present to support her former Iowa Hawkeyes? Unless you've been living under a rock, you've heard about Caitlin Clark. She's a fantastic player who improves everyone around her. She will go down as one of the greatest players in basketball history, and I believe that will have a lasting impact. The tribute featured heartfelt remarks from basketball legends like Paige Beckers and Yangu Watkins, as well as her former coaches Lisa Blur and Yan Jensen-Watkins, who had played against Clark on the court. They expressed their admiration, saying she's been great. I'm really excited for her at this next stage. Effortlessly showcasing not only Clark's incredible abilities, but also her character and leadership, both on and off the court. She's been a great player and a great person, and I'm really excited for her at this next stage of her career. Caitlin Clark becomes the all-time leading scorer in major college basketball, which is another moment that will live on in history for this transformational superstar. However, what really stole the show wasn't just the overwhelmingly positive comments from her fans. What really stood out was how even her most critical critics had softened their voices. Geno Auriemma, once one of Clark's loudest skayas, was now offering something unexpected. The video wasn't just a nostalgic look back at her collegiate career. It was a powerful testament to the ripple effect Clark had created in the basketball world. Caitlin brought so much new attention to the rise in women's college basketball in the WNBA and women's sports in general. I feel like the weight of the world is on her shoulders, and she just has this heavy burden to carry, and she does it with genuine respect. The man who had dismissed her as hyped now had no choice but to acknowledge her incredible accomplishments, and his skepticism had melted away, replaced by grudging admiration for the player who had proven him and so many others wrong. As the tribute played on fans, social media erupted with reactions and tweets like she's changed the game and it's time everyone admits it, and even Geno can't deny her greatness anymore. The overwhelming sentiment was that Caitlin Clark had transcended the game and her impact was undeniable, and it wasn't just her supporters from Iowa who spoke up. Kara Conagra, a coach who had faced Clark's teams as a rival, weighed in with commendation that carried weight. You can't deny her impact. It transcends statistics. The tribute flowed naturally into WNBA highlights, eliciting applause from the audience each time her face appeared on screen. It seemed as though the entire basketball community was united in celebrating her journey. Clark, for the win, is only comparable to Steph Curry, who broke my assist record at Iowa, so that's something I will always have to deal with. But I believe what Caitlin Clark did was draw attention to our game. People who would not have otherwise watched women's basketball are now, due to Geno Auriemma, the legendary UConn coach who once dismissed Caitlin Clark's WNBA potential with absolute confidence, found himself in an unexpected position. Caitlin Clark's tribute was more than just a celebration. It was a reckoning of how far she had come from a player who legends doubted to one who forced them to rethink everything. It reinforced that her season was about more than just the numbers. It was about resilience, breaking barrier carriers, and bringing people together. At the heart of it all was Clark, who remained humble and focused as ever, continuing to inspire everyone around her. In a segment that aired alongside Clark's tribute video, he was the loudest voice of doubt for months, criticizing her readiness for the league and doubting her ability to survive against professional competition. His comments carried something that fans never thought they'd hear: genuine admiration. This is an incredible phenomenon that very rarely occurs, and it definitely changed the landscape. The once sharp remarks about Clark's lack of physicality in the WNBA and his digs at her naive fan base were no longer present. Instead, Auriemma publicly acknowledged the undeniable impact The weight of Auriemma's earlier skepticism became more apparent as Clark's brilliance unfolded and his once firm stance looked increasingly out of step with reality. However, this wasn't just about admitting she could play. It was about realizing that Clark was redefining what it meant to be a star in the entertainment industry. She definitely changed the landscape, no doubt, he said during the segment, leaving viewers stunned. I was mesmerized by her. Caitlin had the tongue out. She is feeling it tonight, folks. In light of Clark's rapid ascent, analysts were quick to weigh in, saying things like, this is Geno's version of admitting he was wrong without actually saying the words. Even respected basketball insiders pointed out how Auriemma's change of heart highlighted the WNBA's reputation for sticking to his convictions. AR's shift revealed something rare: a concession to undeniable greatness. And I believe that all of us fan-based participants were just so thankful that we were part of that ride. Clark's talent was so strong that it could shatter even the most firmly held beliefs. But for many, Auriemma's change represented a larger cultural shift in the sport. Women's basketball was changing, and so was the audience's willingness to accept new talent. Clark wasn't just playing the game, she was redefining it, forcing even her harshest critics to reconsider their opinions. Her season wasn't just a personal victory, it was a turning point for the sport as a whole. She did so much to promote women's basketball, and I believe that everyone was watching. When Auriemma's remarks were made public, Clark's fans rushed to social media, flooding feeds with ecstatic posts and tweets like, even Geno can't deny her greatness anymore, and this is the ultimate vindication for Caitlin. Memes mocking Auriemma's change of heart swiftly went viral, turning what could have been a quiet moment into an internet sensation. However, beyond the memes and tweets, the moment carried deeper significance as it signaled a new era of, we knew what we had in Caitlin back in Iowa City. We knew the attention she was bringing around the Big Ten and collegiate basketball, but I didn't know how that was going to translate into the WNBA, and obviously we can see that it's done. Clark's ability to surpass expectations inspired women's basketball, and fans who had previously doubted her now found themselves cheering her on. Analysts who had hedged their bets now spoke of her with reverence typically reserved for legends of the game pretty damn well, and people are eager to watch her play at every level. This wasn't just about Clark disproving Geno Auriemma. It was also about completely changing the narrative. Her story became a testament to talent, resiliency, and the power of breaking down barriers. Clark was a trailblazer who inspired the next generation of athletes and changed the way the sport is perceived, forcing everyone to pay attention. Her season wasn't just a triumph of skill. It was a masterclass in ambition, resilience, and rewriting the narrative. She joined the WNBA under scrutiny, with skeptics, including the renowned Auriemma, doubting her capacity to adjust to the league's mental and physical demands. But Clark not only met the challenge, but also shattered expectations, creating a new standard for what a first-day player can achieve. I expect to be among the best players in the world someday, and I don't expect anything less. From our history of the Feed rookie, this point continues to be me, and I believe a lot of positive things will come from that Auriemma's transition. From harsh criticism to ecstatic praise, marked more than just a personal concession. It symbolized the seismic impact of Clark's accomplishments. For a coach whose stature, known for unwavering opinions, to acknowledge her greatness marked a turning point in the sport. Game changers like Clark challenge stereotypes and raise the bar for what's possible, redefining the rules of the game. As Clark gets ready for the 2025 season, the stakes are higher than ever, and analysts predict she will hone her already elite skills and lead the Indiana Fever into contention. Fans eagerly await her next move, and her electrifying performances promise to bring even more attention to the league. But Clark's influence goes beyond that. Caitlin Clark's season was more than just an individual triumph. It was a movement. She inspires a new generation of players to dream bigger and push farther. You know, I just come out here and try to, play basketball in a way that people love watching, in a way that is going to make my team successful. That's just what comes with it. And so the ripple effect of Clark's success isn't limited to the court. It's felt in the increased enthusiasm for women's basketball, the growing audience it commands, and the young athletes now seeing themselves on the same stage. For the critics, doubters, and even those who have come around, one thing is certain. Caitlin Clark has already rewritten the story. Do you agree? If so, please leave a comment, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss it. The echoes of Clark's breakthrough year will reverberate through the WNBA's future. She has already demonstrated that she belongs among the league's elite, but her journey is far from over. So, the question now isn't whether she will succeed, but rather how far she will take the sport. I'll see you at the following one.